We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. Elizabeth Cady Stanton. I beg you to speak of women as you do of the Negro. Speak of her as a human being, as a citizen of the United States, as a half of the people in whose hands lies the destiny of this nation. Susan B. Anthony. For the first 100 years of American history, the nation was predominantly run by middle-class white men, and anyone who attempted to challenge this was socially disregarded. However, with the rise of the Second Great Awakening, many women gained the courage to stand up against the imbalanced government, yet the right to vote was still far off. In July 1848, the true struggle began with the Seneca Falls Convention held in New York, establishing a firmer movement for equal rights for women. Significant figures such as Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony resisted the male-dominant leadership and influenced many women to do the same. However, the rise of the Civil War put the fight for women's rights on pause, as many were more focused on the abolition of slavery. 4 years later, in 1865, with the end of the Civil War, the era of Reconstruction began, which brought about the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, granting African male slaves their freedom, citizenship, and the right to vote, yet women still saw no change in society towards them. Because of the continued disregard for women in the federal government, the issue then turned to state governments, where they gained increased support from the states closer to the West Coast. Another effort to strengthen their argument for women's rights was the establishment of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, where they succeeded in bringing up their argument in the Senate multiple times, only to be shot down. Later on, the National Women's Party was formed, and many of the more daring women made attempts to vote, yet they were usually arrested or kicked out. With the rise of World War I, again, Congress used it as an excuse to ignore the determined women's rights activists. Yet this time, women proved to be very useful as they played a major role in the home front while men were away. Even President Woodrow Wilson urged Congress to rethink their decision in a widespread public appeal. 3 times the Senate denied the appeal until August 18, 1920. Women finally gained the right to vote in a narrowly ratified decision by 36 out of the 48 states, Tennessee being the last, therefore making it the 19th Amendment.